Hello out to all you wonderful people, this is Andre the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamer's Thoughts discussion, and I'm going to be talking about multiple things, but the first thing is going to be retiring Jim Ryan. The man is stepping down from his position with Sony after 4 years. Now, I have no problem with that. I mean, obviously, he needs to move on. He needs a change for himself, and that's good. At least for him, that's good. Now, for Sony, on the other hand, I mean, I don't really think it makes much of a difference. Because everybody's going to be like, oh, well, Jim Ryan was there. They released this game, this game, this game, and this game. You need to quote the late great Iwata, please understand. Those things were already in motion before he got his position. 4 years isn't enough time to really affect the curve that Sony was on. Now, he could have influenced things that are going to be happening going further down the line. He may have influenced some stuff that might happen in the next 2 to 3 years. But he himself didn't create the things that were. He didn't create the space for the things that came out to come out. They were already coming out, like PlayStation Portal or PSP. I'm pretty sure Sony had already made plans for that device before he took his position. He may have had some influence on it, but he didn't really change anything about it. Just like he may have had some influence on the way that the PlayStation Network stuff is going, but he didn't really come up with it. Like the PlayStation Network and all their different tiers. He didn't control, he contributed to it, but he was not the base of it. So in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe some more of his influence might be more prevalent, but he's already leaving. So it kind of makes me think that Sony was already on this curve, and he was just the face they wanted in place while they were finding someone else. I kind of get that feeling. That's why he's stepping down so quickly. He was the face they wanted there when they needed him there. And the only real thing that he may have affected directly was that Microsoft FTC hearing. That's the only thing he may have had some direct influence on. And that influence wasn't great. It wasn't great, because it opened up a lot of people's eyes to some of the shadier backdoor deals that happen in the gaming industry. Like how keeping content off of other platforms was a thing, by paying companies to not put content on other platforms. So yeah. Man. But I do wish him good luck. I'm not gonna lie, I do wish him good luck on whatever his future endeavors are. It'll be interesting to see what he does and where he goes if he stays in the game industry. Honestly, I have no idea. I have no clue. He could go off and do something completely different and not even be continuing his presence in gaming media. Who knows? We'll soon find out sometime next year, because obviously if he's stepping down from here and he's not like retiring himself from work completely, then there was already a deal in place for him to go somewhere else. And hey, he finished out at Sony being on top of the company. I mean, that's a good way to go. Now, the next thing, I did just briefly mention it while talking about Jim Ryan, but PlayStation Portal. Apparently it is selling out and doing very well. That happens with every new piece of hardware. Just about, when it comes down to the major companies in gaming. I don't think people really understand that. Like, the Xbox Series S sold out in Japan when it originally dropped. The Wii U sold out when it originally dropped. Selling out when a product drops doesn't necessarily mean the market is going to want that product for a long-term thing. Now granted, yes, there are people who highly enjoy this machine. I don't think that that's an issue. I have no issue with people enjoying using the PlayStation Portal, even if I talk about it and joke about it. And I talk about it and joke about it because of context. Like, Sony has already had things that do what the PlayStation Portal does and more. That's the thing that's funny to me. And then on top of that, the funny thing to me is that so many people said they don't want, and Nintendo also did this, but they don't want a controller with a screen on it. But isn't that exactly what the PlayStation Portal is? A controller with a screen stuck in the middle. That was the excuse as to why people wouldn't purchase the Wii U, which was $350 at launch. So you mean to tell me you're willing to pay almost double that, if not double that, depending on which model of the PS5 you purchase, to have nearly the same thing? Just one works over longer distances and requires an internet connection. That is where I will make fun. But if somebody actually legitimately gets it and they actually enjoy using it and they find it to be great for their personal needs, cool. Enjoy it. Don't give a fuck about my jokes then. Just enjoy the device and have fun with it. Because that's what you should be doing. You should not allow how I feel about it or what I say about it to influence how you feel about it or what you'll say about it. That's why I like that people have preferences, options, choices. I will always say that. Doesn't stop me from making fun of shit, because I'm going to have fun making fun of things. I'm going to have fun making jokes about things. I'm going to have fun crapping on things, because some stuff is funny to me, some stuff is ironic. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and say, yo, hey, it's sold out in Japan, it's obviously going to do great. I mean, Japan's fucking network infrastructure over there for online stuff is way better than here. It's much better suited to a Japanese audience than it is over here. Especially where you have rural areas that still have trouble getting internet. So yeah, this is much better over in Japan. Hell, even in some places in Europe it's better than over here in America. I still think it's a fail that you are required to have the PS5 itself and you can't just purchase the machine and then just stream from their cloud service to that little machine. That would have been a way for Sony to boost the hell out of the numbers of the PS5. But they didn't do it. I mean, maybe they'll change that. Maybe they'll change that, because that's something I think you can change in firmware. I may be wrong. But I think that's something that you can change in firmware. It'll take some time to do. It wouldn't be perfect because it wasn't designed with that idea in mind immediately. But if it's going to be streaming anyway, why not connect it to the cloud servers and just stream the games through PlayStation's online services? You pay your fee, you get to play the games on the go, you don't have to have the physical console. I mean, people are already doing that with PC anyway. So I mean, you can't tell me it's not it's not a good idea if they're already doing it on PC. Or if they don't even want to have, if they could partner up with Amazon, allow people to use I forget what Amazon's service is called, but allow Amazon's cloud service for gaming to be on there. I don't know why it's escaping me. Oh well. I mean, I've talked about it before, so it's no big deal. Next item on the docket, Foamstars. Now, I'm not playing it, and I don't see an issue with people playing it. I look at Foamstars, honestly, if you just want like the most objective view I can give on this game, just from what I've seen. It's Splatoon and Overwatch thrown together. That's all it is. It's Splatoon and Overwatch thrown together. Whereas you would have the Inklings, who are more individualistic to you yourself as a person. Meaning your Inkling's attire and stuff is custom to you and how you want your Inkling to look and be a representation of yourself. Whereas the Foamstars characters already have personality. They are already who they are going to be as characters. Now maybe you can change up the aesthetics, but they themselves are still those characters, those particular characters. That, and they use foam instead of ink. And you kind of get like a Smash Brothers style knockout with them, because I think you foam people up and then you can kick them bouncing the hell around. Also, people, this game was not made by Sony. This game was made by Square Enix, which means it potentially could end up on a Nintendo platform. Now, I wouldn't expect it to end up on Xbox, because I don't think that audience would want anything like this. And they would very much not play it. So that's why I found it so funny when people were running with the, well, yeah, it's a great idea if Phil Spencer were to get Microsoft to purchase Nintendo and bring those games to this audience. No, it isn't. Because you guys don't want those type of games at all. You don't. And I could see a version of Foamstars ending up on Nintendo. So I'm not against the idea of Splatoon having a game that competes with its idea. I'm all for it. Now I will say, I've seen multiple different perspectives on this, and everybody's not getting it. Everybody's not getting it because everybody's too busy arguing with each other over it. Now, there are many arguments I have seen for this. One is from the Nintendo community. Say like, yo, y'all didn't want Splatoon. And this plays a lot like Splatoon. Not exactly the same, but a lot like. And that got met with, oh, well, y'all just mad and y'all sitting there crying and whining. And yeah, that is true about some Nintendo fans, as I have also seen some of them going hard in the paint. Yeah, this is garbage. Fuck this completely. This game is 100% garbage with no intention of ever touching the game. So, yeah, I don't subscribe to that take either. But I don't hear that going, I don't see that going towards those people. I see it going toward the people saying, yo, hey, you said you didn't want this, now you do? It caused a lot of stuff into question. The same way I make the jokes about the PlayStation Portal. But I also see, and this is the thing I have been saying for years when it comes to certain games, and Foamstars is a great highlight of this, because a couple of people actually said this part. actually said this part in discussions, in arguments, and I'm sorry for that whistling sound that just came out my mouth if you were wearing headphones. But it's something I had said multiple times over because I was realizing that this was the case when it came down to a lot of different games. People did not like the look of the game, so that turned them off from ever attempting to play it. And that makes me a completely different breed of gamer from people in general, because I can look at a game and not like its aesthetic, but find other things in that game that I like about it, and I will play it and enjoy it, even if I don't like the aesthetic of the game. That makes me the weird one, even though I've been gaming longer than most of these people have been alive. Which is fucking funny as hell. But they said that, and I was like, yep, that's the thing I've been saying for years. It's more than likely that was the issue. People didn't like the aesthetic of Splatoon, so they went ahead and you know, shit on it. Basically saying, nah, we don't want this. But really, they didn't want how it looked. They didn't like how it looked, so for them, nah, I'm not going to touch it and play it, which is perfectly fine. But you bullshitted all the other reasons. When you could have just said, yo, no, this just aesthetically don't work for me. I don't want to play it. Cool. Fine. Let's move the fuck on. Because that's more than likely the case. It's not the style of the game that was the problem. It's the style of the look of the game that was the problem. And that is more than likely the case. That's why you can have these people that shit on Splatoon saying, oh, nah, that's corny as hell. I don't want to touch that. I ain't going to play it. And then jump right on over to Foamstars. Which has the same concept. Just done a little differently. Because that is more aesthetically in line with what they like. And that's perfectly fine. But I wish people would just say that shit versus, oh, nah, this game's bad. Why is the game bad? Have you touched it or played it? Nope. How do you know it's bad? Especially when you don't have much experience in gaming or you only play the most popular shit. How do you know it's bad? Well, you see, and then a bunch of bullshit gets thrown out. And then when you counter those bullshit points, man, fuck you. That's what I see out of the Foamstars Splatoon shit. That's just like what I said, people asked for what Federation Force was, Metroid Prime Federation Force. They asked for what that game was. If it came out on the Wii U, it would have got far less hate than it did when it came out on the 3DS. Ooh, that hurt. Don't mind me. It would have got far less hate if it came out on the Wii U and looked more in line with the Metroid Prime, basically more in line with what Metroid Prime Remastered turned out to be. If it looked more in line with that, people wouldn't have had as big of an issue with Federation Force. It was the chibi look. And I understand, yo, hey, maybe you don't get down with that aesthetic. That's understandable. That's one of the reasons a lot of people complain about Pokemon now. Because they don't like the chibi aesthetic. They don't like the super deformed look. I get it. But I still stand by this. I still stand by this because I remember watching that Nintendo World Championships when they were playing Blast Ball before it was revealed to be a game in the Metroid Prime universe. People loved that game until they realized it was part of Metroid. Then they hated it. Because for them, that aesthetic does not fit Metroid. And I completely understand that. But I also don't think that that's a good enough reason to not play a game. Because if the game feels right, then you should still be able to play it. But for some people, that is a barrier. That's why Splatoon got the hate and discredit that it did. It wasn't about how good the gameplay was, until there were some people that say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to try it and see if I like it or not. And then a lot of those people ended up catching on when Splatoon 2 came out. So again, it's one of those things where people, and this is a superficial thing, but then gaming is a hobby. So I mean, if you're going to indulge in your hobby, then it should be enjoyed the way you want to enjoy it. That's what I took from with the Foamstars Splatoon situation. That's the thing I'm seeing. That I know not very many other people are saying. I know that's the case. And I've been saying that part out loud for I don't know how long. When I repeat these things. Splatoon is a good game. The series is good. Foamstars, based on what I have seen, is a good game. Now, whether or not it is better than Splatoon is a matter of opinion. But I can say from what I see, that looks like a good game. It looks like it can be a lot of fun. I think it would be more fun playing it with people you know versus playing with randoms. Unless you're doing like, you know, team versus team. But again, it comes down to aesthetics. People prefer the aesthetics of Foamstars versus Splatoon. Some people. I actually prefer the Splatoon aesthetic because it's more flexible. But that's me. Again, that's one of those things that people don't want to talk about. And I've said it multiple times over and over again. And I can repeat it until I'm blue in the face. Nobody's actually going to acknowledge it on a larger scale. There's always going to be somebody individually saying it. But I think for the most part, it is the larger side of the scale when it comes down to the negativity about one thing versus another when they are very much damn near the same. At least in concept. So I don't have any hate towards Foamstars. I did find it funny that as soon as a game like Splatoon was announced for another platform, people were up and say, yo, yeah, this is great and everything. I found that hilarious, especially with all the people that I know for a fact when I saw their comments about Splatoon were jumping up and down for Foamstars. That was funny to me. And I noticed a lot of tweets disappearing, a lot of posts disappearing. So I didn't really, it's not like I sat there and screen capped everything because I don't chronicle other people's lives. It's not me. But when you see something like, yeah, that is funny as hell, you jumped on that bandwagon quick as shit, which is fine. But let's be real about the reasons for it instead of sitting here saying, yo, hey, I'm just not down for this. You're down for it in a different shape, bruh. It's the same thing. It may not be one to one exactly the same, but the concept is the same. The only thing that I've heard about Foamstars being a negative knock, and it's something I can see from the videos people have posted, it can get a little messy in the way the arenas end up looking. But I think if you're used to Splatoon, you could get adjusted to that. It just comes down to having a sense of your environment. And with Splatoon, that's how the Japanese players dominate so well, because they have a very strong sense of their environment when they're playing on different maps. It's the same thing with Foamstars. If you know where you're going to go, and you know where you were positioned before something started, once you know the map, you can figure all that out. It'll just look a little messy, and that's something I think that they can fix with like an update or a patch. But the game itself does look fun. I would play it. I just don't have the proper equipment to play it. At least not yet. I mean, they could possibly put it on PC, which I think it is coming out on PC, and then later on down the line on the next Nintendo platform, it might also come out. I have an idea. I have a feeling that that's going to happen. But I'm not gonna harp on that too much more. I think that was probably the subject so far I was the most strongly feeling about, but it wasn't even that I had negativity toward the game, even though I will joke about it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off here. So thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games and peace out, everybody. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. If you would be interested in supporting my efforts in content creation, please head on over to Amazon and look up The Game Idea Guy Presents Gaming Word Search, and you will find both Volume 1 and Volume 2 up for sale. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to be able to create more content for you in the future. Peace out.